True peace, kins and kinettes. I am back at y'all with another one. And if you trying to stay ahead of the game, man, you should go ahead and subscribe to Peep the Slang. Transhumanism. Will the singularity rescue us from death? Man, Peep the Slang. Look at the face. Just imagine if them eyes just open, man. What are we to do about death? To live is to live in its shadow. Death hunts us and shapes much of our culture, especially religion. Each one of us knows that we will die, but we spend most of our lives happily ignoring that fact. Last week, I came across a Jack London quote that really forced me back on my heels in relationship to this overwhelming question. Today, I want to reflect a bit on it, especially in the light of what's called transhumanism and its attempt to conquer death. Peep the slang, carpe diem. Here's the quote. The proper function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. Jack London, man, peep the slang. So what does this have to do with transhumanism? As a general definition, transhumanism is the belief or theory that the human race can evolve beyond its current physical and mental limitations, especially by means of science and technology. The ultimate limit for a human being is, of course, death. Many transhumanists hope to use science to escape death. That is why some folks plan to freeze their corpse in the hope of being revived later when technology progresses. Man, peep the slang. The ultimate hope rests in the singularity, when the capacity of computers accelerate exponentially, leading to general artificial intelligence. As part of this machine awakening, there also will be the possibility of uploading your consciousness into silicon, guaranteeing a kind of immortality, as long as there are machines to store and process your connectome. Man, Peter Slang, personally, I find the goals of the transhumanists to be both tragically misguided and dangerously wrong-headed in the most literal sense of the word. The misguided part is beautifully summed up in the London quote. How can there be life without death? How can our time have any meaning without its terminus? To borrow a page from the Buddhists and lots of other spiritual traditions, death isn't just out there somewhere. Every moment is an arising and a falling. Every instant is a birth followed by a death. To miss this point is to miss what makes living so poignant, poignant, and to write with the purpose and potential. Man, peep the slang. Yes, death is scary and freaky, but on the other hand, I have no direct idea what it actually involves. Having never been dead myself, given that reality, my job is to live this life as completely as possible. You got that right. You can engage fully in its richness or its sorrows and its beauty, or you can miss it by worrying about when or how this aspect of being ends. Man, peep the slang. Transhumanism is religion. From this perspective, the transhumanists desire to conquer death. Sound like the worst form of religious zeal. Both science and spiritual practice are supposed to help us look directly into the truth of life, the universe, and everything. Death, whatever it means, is part of all three. To spend effort thinking otherwise is to quite sadly miss the point profoundly. Even more important, however, is the wrong headedness of the transhuman concept of what it means to be human. The idea that it's literally all in the head, your life, and the transhumanist conception is reducible to the computations happening in your brain, the totality of your experience, its vibrancy, its immediacy, and the strange, inescapable luminosities of its presence. It's all just meat computing. And if that's the case, who needs the meat? Let's just swap out the neurons for silicon chips and it would all be the same. Heck, it would be better. And it gets to go on forever and ever. There are so many assumptions and metaphysical beliefs wrapped in these ideas that it is hard to know where to begin. The most important, however, is that reduction of life to meat computing. It is really nothing more than an unjustifiable hope. It is infatuation with technology that happens to define technology's frontier right now. But after more than half of a century of research in AI, there is no evidence that you will be able to upload yourself into a machine. This is not to say that there cannot be brain machine interfaces that extend the ability to do simple tasks, but just as we keep failing to build a general AI, we will not replace the holism of the life world in silicon. While I am all in favor of extending the years we get to live a little bit, if those years are truly lived, the idea of conquering death with machines sounds more like a nightmare than a dream. So let's not waste our days trying to simply to prolong them, but instead embrace this day and all the adventures in learning, compassion, and experiences and promises. Man, peep the slang. Transhumanism. Carpe diem. The proper function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days in trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. Jack London. Man, peep the slang.